Hi, Jos. How are you feeling then ahead of this unique tour, which you'll be undertaking in unique circumstances?
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's obviously nice when we get back together as a group. Playing for England's always a privilege. So yeah, very excited to start the winter tours.
Do you have any concerns or apprehensions about the restrictions that will be on you when you're out there?
No, I think we've got quite used to it. Obviously, the bubble we've got used to in England, and a few of us have obviously taken part in the IPL and been accustomed to that. So it'll be much the same, I'm sure. And see, South Africa's a great tour. We won't get to fully enjoy it as we usually would, but I think everyone's come accustomed to what it's going to be like.
And what sort of coping mechanisms or ways of dealing with those restrictions have you found useful, and what do you think will be key to everyone keeping their well-being out in South Africa?
Yeah, I think most of the lads in Xbox is quite high on the priority list. Netflix, obviously, go reading books, and I think really if you're feeling under pressure or not quite feeling yourself, having the confidence to open up and talk about it. I think all of us will go through it at different stages where you feel a bit homesick or you feel a bit claustrophobic by not being able to get out and about as you might usually want to. So we'll just have to make sure that we're very aware of that. And I think one thing that ECB is excellent at is the looking after the players' mental well-being.
And you'll be able to put some smiles on faces of sports fans back here in lockdown as well. Is that something that you'll be thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a big part of it. All the sport that's been live on TV has been a big plus for everyone, especially at the moment being in a lockdown. Sorry, excuse my little one. With the Premier League still going ahead and the international fixtures we've been watching, it's a nice escape from being locked down.
Can you use that as motivation or inspiration?
I think you always do. Yeah, I think you're always playing for the pride of yourselves and playing for the pride and of your fans. You're always trying to put on a good show for the people watching at home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jos. I just want to touch on something James mentioned there about the lack of fans and playing it during a lockdown. Do you feel there's even more duty as professional sportsmen to put smiles on faces than there was pre-lockdown?
Potentially, I think when it's obviously more obvious at the ground when the crowd is there and you're desperate to impress people and put on a good show for the people who are there. So of course we're aware that there's going to be millions more watching at home and on screen. So it's been a tough year for the majority. We're very lucky that we're able to carry on and and play professional cricket. So we it's our duty to play well and put on a good show for the guys watching at home.
And you're coming into this white ball series off the back of the IPL. How much of an advantage, if any, was it that you played against the likes of Kagiso Rabada, Anrich Nortje, Quintin the Cock in that tournament?
Yeah, I think those guys you mentioned been around for a while, and we've played against them a few times in different tournaments or different series. So the IPL is one of those great things for you get to see guys close up and play with and against them. So in international cricket, there's not too many surprises nowadays with the video that's available around the world. But it's obviously great when you've had some contests recently, so you fresh in your mind about certain things that they will come and attack you with and how you're going to try and counter them.
And you look at the T20 squad compared to the ODI squad, the likes of Ben Stokes is rested from the ODIs. Does that just show that the main priority now for this England team in the next 12 months is that T20 World Cup? Yeah,
I think so. And obviously with such a congested fixture list, it's always important for the ECB to find time for guys to be able to rest and get enough time away from the game to be in a good headspace. So with two T20 World Cups around the corner, it seems that the ODIs just at the moment are the ones that guys look to be resting from.
And just one final one for me, Jos. It's more generic on T20 cricket, but you look at the number of English players playing in the upcoming Big Bash, and it's not the strongest 11 in terms of the likes of Ben Stokes, yourself playing in the Big Bash coming up. Does that just show you the strength of depth in the English cricket team when it comes to T20 cricket, and how pleasing is that to see?
Yeah, it's fantastic for English cricket that lots of our players are in high demand in franchise tournaments around the world. I think it shows we've come a long way in T20 cricket and how our white ball cricket in this country is viewed, that players are in high demand. Like you say, in the IPL, we had a lot of players in that tournament. Looking ahead to the Big Bash, the number of English players going over to play is fantastic, and it will just push us as a country from strength to strength. It's obviously fantastic for the individual to be exposed to those tournaments.
Perfect. Thanks, Jos.
Thanks, Scott. We'll take some questions from the written media, starting with John Etheridge and then Julian Guy, please.
Jos, morning. I don't know if you've totted up the number of days you've spent in a bubble since late June, but you're about to enter another one for a month or so. I mean, what are the challenges of being quarantined?
I think just the restriction on your freedom. I think can certainly found in the summer in England with staying at hotels on the ground. Certainly a lot tougher to escape the game. I think it's it's high pressured matches, and you sort of put a lot into the game. It's nice to be able to get away and relax, and it's certainly looking out your window and still being on the ground is tougher to sort of have real differentials between the game and your sort of relax and recovery time. I found that easier in the IPL, staying at a hotel away from the ground, and sort of had that clear sort of separation between the two, which was great. And I think it's lots of people, freedom's restricted at the moment. We're very lucky that we have been living in a time where we have immense freedom. So it's certainly a difference and can make you feel a bit claustrophobic. And I think that's very important, that when you start to feel that way or something, you can sort of vocalize that to someone.
Just in that bill, you were able to take your wife and your daughter there, all right? Yes.
So it's so that was makes a huge difference. Obviously in the summer you spend a lot of time away from your family, and what's strange, you're only probably an hour down the road or half an hour down the road, and you couldn't get back to see them. So it was fantastic to be able to take my wife and daughter out to the IPL. It made a big difference for me individually, having them there with me and spending so much time together.
And can I just ask, you start with 3 T20s in South Africa. I mean, it's a big 12 months, I suppose, with the World Cup getting to loom. I mean, what are you as the vice captain, as looking at the team in general, hoping to get out of those 3 T20 matches?
To go and win the series is the ultimate aim. Of course, we're building towards a World Cup, but one thing we did very well in 50 over cricket was win and learn at the same time, building into a tournament. So of course winning gives you confidence when you can play well, gaining role clarity in the side, sort of really trying to nail down your 11 and sort of 15, looking forward to that World Cup. It's going to be, I think one thing we had certainly in the 50 over side was sort of the team nearly picked itself, by the end of that cycle, and that's a great place to be as a side, and give a lot of confidence of guys playing a lot of games with each other. So then heading into a tournament in high pressure situations, you're very familiar with your own role and what you expect of your teammates.
Okay, Julian, and then Wilmot first, and then we'll take a couple more. Obviously, Jos needs to sort out his childcare as well.
Yeah. Hello, Jos. I was just wondering, how was Jofra Archer going when you left him? Because I know he's spoken about the difficulties of the restrictions of pub life in the past.
Yeah, his cricket was going pretty well. So he was bowling fantastically well and smacking them out the park. So he had but like I say, he's been someone who's spent, he's probably one who spent the most days in a lockdown situation over the last 6 months or so. For any young man, it's tough, at times you want to especially spend time with your family and get away from the game occasionally. So I think this little break before the South Africa tour will have been great for him. I know he had some family come out and join him in the IPL, which was a big plus as well. And of course, he's just doing the T20s, so he can get a bit more of a break after that, leading into lots of cricket in the new year.
Thank you.
Okay, Will Macpherson, please.
Jos, there's been a bit of sort of political uncertainty in South African cricket, as there often is. It seemed at the back end of last week like this tour might actually be in doubt, even though it's so soon before you were leaving. Did that kind of filter through to the players? What was the message from the ECB, and did you ever think that it might not actually happen?
Yeah, I think sort of the obviously heard about what had happened with the board in South Africa a few sort of weeks and months ago. But expecting that was all going to be sorted out in time for our tour, and then we were waiting to hear if the tour was going ahead. And obviously, when it was planned, you're just excited and looking forward to the tour. So reading in the paper a little bit that the tour was in doubt and sort of wondering what was going to happen. But Ashley Giles got in touch with all the players to say, we're confident the tour will go ahead, but we'll obviously keep everyone in the loop. So I think everyone's grateful that it's going to be going ahead, and especially so close to your departure date, you're starting to suddenly really gear up to go. So we're delighted it can go ahead.
It's sort of business as usual, basically, was the message. Don't get too distracted by the reports.
Yeah, absolutely. And as players, that's nothing to do with us. We as players, you're just looking forward to cricket, and you just want to play cricket and looking forward to that. So the boards can take care of those kind of things.
And we'll finish with Paul Newman, one question, and Andy Hampson from the Press Association.
Hi, Jos. Three of the guys are missing the 50 over series, and obviously you've spent as much time as virtually anyone in the bubbles. Was the fact that your family were in the UAE that persuaded you to play in everything, or were you given that option to miss the 50 over games as well as the other three guys?
One, like I said before, one great thing I think the ECB now is a very open conversation about how guys are feeling and player well-being. Like I said, having my family with me the whole time during the IPL has obviously been a huge plus for me and my mental well-being, and obviously time spent with them. So and it's still being relatively short tour, with 3 extra ODIs. I was very keen to go and play, and I've also really missed playing ODI cricket since the World Cup, having only played 3 games, I think. So I was really looking forward to getting back in and amongst that team.
Thank you.
And Andy to finish.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Jos. Just on Quintin the Cock, how good a cricketer is he? How much do you admire him, and what he brings to the game?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's got an excellent cricket brain. I like the way he sort of looks at the game and the way he takes it on. And yeah, he's probably one of my favourite players in the world at the moment. Having played against him, he's incredibly difficult to keep quiet with the bat. I enjoy his wicket-keeping style as well. I think he's a fantastic wicket-keeper. So he's a brilliant player, and he'll be a real danger man for South Africa looking ahead to this trip.